All right, welcome back everybody to another video. It's October 7th. Haven't made a video in a while, but figured I'd make one today. Got to work on a manure spreader that has a broken gearbox potentially. We're not too sure yet. Got to pull that into the shop and take a look at it. Unfortunately, it still has some manure in it, so it's gonna be a smelly job. As for a farm update, that's all the soya straw. Well, a portion of it anyways, about 70 bales. That's some grain corn we took out of our bin. Our bins are all full. We took out one load of soybeans the other day. We took out actually another load of grain corn from last year. So lots have been done. So now we're gonna get this, hook on the manure spreader. And so this is the manure spreader that's apparently broken. You can see, still got some manure in it. So there's a drive line running all the way along here to this gearbox. It turns this beater, and then it comes over to here with this chain. It comes up to here to spin the other top one. It's obviously not the top one. And there's a chain up here. So this PTO shaft powers a sprocket with a chain that comes to another sprocket that turns the shaft that's all the way here. So obviously there could be broken chain, a broken shaft, or the direction. So that's what we've come down to figure out. It's the directional gearing in there. So this cover might lead to the problem if we take this cover off here. Still oil in it. I just don't really want to have to shovel all this out of here. We had just put or changed these knives to these teeth here, so it really dug in a lot more, and I think that's what led to something breaking inside. So let's take a look. All right, so I got the cover off. All the oil came out. There was oil in it, so that's good. So far, nothing catastrophic. Not sure how this comes out. But there's a gear there, and there's a big sun gear, I presume. It's always a sun gear. So I can't really see much. I'm gonna have to try to turn some stuff and see what happens here. So some years ago, I actually welded this coupler to this spline here, and that's actually what broke. The weld broke. And I had welded it because it was stripping on this spline here. It's like a really fine spline. Anyways, no big deal. I thought I was gonna see some gears broken, but there's really nothing going on back here that can break. It's pretty heavy duty, and you know, unless you break a casting or something, but there's nothing wrong here. It's not too bad. It's gonna take some more welds, that's all. The only thing is, wasted all that gear oil, but that's probably due for a change anyways. I was hoping I would see some gears broken and stuff, but everything's in good shape. So let's take this coupler thing off here and take this net wrap out of everything. The old John Deere lives to see another day. All right, I got this all cleaned up, but I still need some sealant. I ran out of some liquid pasty sealant maker. You know, those tubes that always dry out. Anyways, I gotta clean this all up and put a seal on it so that the oil doesn't leak out of it. It had been leaking out a little bit, but now that I took the cover off, it'll leak a lot more. This was just a poor non-penetrating weld that lasted, I don't know, 10 years. Hard to say, but I welded that when I was pretty young and dumb. So we're gonna do it again, but do it better. And then Yeah, they should be back in working shape. We'll see how many shear pins I'll break to get that wad going. Well, we gotta go to the co-op now and get some high temp sealant, even though it's not high temperature. All right, this is coming back together. You can see the gasket maker coming out of the cracks. Manure's dripping on my hands. Anywho, this is somewhat easy fix. Now this is not going to leak anymore, and we're going to be able to fix that. So as soon as it dries up, we'll be able to be back in the field. I just don't know how to be nice and tight. Current situation, shoveling all this, or I should say forking all this manure away from the beater so that I can turn it and re-weld that shaft. I welded the shaft just on this side, it wasn't enough. And I really do think it's jammed in there, so we have to take everything away so we can free it up. So here we are out in the field spreading manure with the fork. So we're just gonna shovel all this out. Figured instead of shoveling it ahead in the shop, I'll just bring it out in the field and throw it out. So give me a good reminder of how much it sucks to do shit by hand. All right, it's back in the shop, all cleaned out. I got a good workout this Saturday afternoon. So now we can fully grind everything clean and weld it up properly. Might get the arc welder in here because I cranked it up pretty good and it's still kind of just, well, it was only half a weld too, so if I weld it the full circumference, it'd be all right, I think. Let's get that cleaned up. Cranked her up all the way, the welder, and I welded it, and I welded, and I almost melted through the shaft. It's ugly, but let's see if it works. I gotta put some oil in here yet. My sealant should be almost dry. Well, that load was successfully unloaded, spread out. I did 2 turns, but we have a chain that's jumping still. So we gotta take a look at that, and we gotta clean off all the net wrap on the beater. So back to the shop. Just started raining a little bit. We're not doing any damage to the field though. It's still pretty dry. We're not going to be hauling anything in this field though. This was just a test run to see if this manure spreader works again. We're going to be heading to the cornfield to be spreading the rest. Look at that beater, nice and clean. All that net wrap that was on it. I burnt some of it off, but I had to cut most of it with the knife. Right here, you can see this is disconnected. Ready to come off, so we got to straighten that out. Weld it back in. A little bit of a glare here, hard to see. And then we should be good to go. Assuming that holds. Oh, we gotta fix the chain up front too. That thing's jumping on us. I don't know. I think the sprocket might be done. Gee, I wonder why. This is a brand new chain. I don't know why it's stretched. This isn't exactly the best tensioner either. She's pretty pointy, that sprocket too. So we'll have to maybe take a link out. All right, so we're just unhooking it. We're pretty much done working on it. I had a problem with the chain being too loose, and there's actually another hole on the other side of this tensioner block kind of thing. So we just moved it up 1 hole, so it's obviously gonna, well, I don't know, we'll see. It a little bit tighter. It's a brand new chain. Maybe the sprocket on this side's worn out, but for the most part, look how nice and clean these beaters are. So I noticed there's a bunch of cracks and stuff on these beaters. Are ready to fall off, some of them, so I welded some junk onto it and it should be good for another. See, I should have burnt these out. It's gonna get into the bearing. think that's the one bearing we haven't changed yet on the whole machine. Anywho, it's all welded up and they put the cover on. But, I don't think she leaks anymore. There you go. So that's all I got for today. It's a short video, but at least it's a video. I gotta go check on cows, and then I think I'm done for today.